horrible world, there you are. Today's episode is a 4-paper show. We will be having a magazine special later in the week, but to start with, we're starting with the papers. What? You know what I mean. It's a paper show. There'll be a magazine special later in the week. Today is... well, it's all chunky papers today. No Sun or Mirror or anything like that today. We've got the Times, the Daily Mail, the Telegraph, and the Guardian. I'm going to start with the Telegraph. No, I'm going to start with the Guardian, move on to the Telegraph, which we'll do as a hilarious speed round as I attempt to try and grapple with the paper without a butler to iron it. Then we'll have the Times, then we'll have the Daily Mail. So, yeah, that's today's story. Gotta just actually sort out the newspaper pictures. I've not done that. There's a very limited production process with this show, and yet I regularly fail to do it. So let's get those sorted. If you're watching this on YouTube, I can only apologise. I'm going to start trying to actually stream it live to YouTube, but it's complicated enough for me to stream it here on Twitch, and I think I'd be over-facing myself. Good afternoon, Slinker. How are you doing? A pleasure to see you as ever. Yes, that's right, Julie. I am a massive slacker. The reason I got slightly distracted because in order to distract myself from attempting to write something on media plurality that's doing my head in for a commission, I got started reading this, which is, I haven't got my opinion on it yet. Have I had a haircut? Yeah, I have had a haircut. I had it last week before I went on holiday. That is correct. Hello, Friday's fuckface. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, Snur. Good morning. Right, so we're going to start with The Guardian. Like I say, then a speed run. Hey, Neon Lady, how you doing? Stream crapping out. Hang on. Let me fuck with the... thank you for resubscribing, Mark. Much appreciated. I'm going to fuck with the stream settings. It's... the output is... take the bit rate down. Apply. Okay. Yes, I don't know why. Ever since I had to reinstall the software, there's been issues with it constantly says encoding overloaded, which is extremely annoying. It's a slideshow for me, but I can hear you okay. Yeah, well, all right. I'm just gonna mess with it a little bit. Video output. Turn off video. I can't. Do you know what? I can't change it at the moment, so I'm not going to. Right. Sorry for those who are not experiencing it in the best form. Right, so anyway, we're going to start with The Guardian. Twitch is trolling me very much, so we're going to start with The Guardian anyway. Audio input capture. Oh, someone outside is playing music. I thought I was playing music there for a second. Right, so we're going to start with The Guardian, front page of The Guardian, top in the promotional slot at the top. They have an interview with Angela Bassett in the G2. I guess I am every woman, she says. Also in the promotional slots, Raducanu powers into quarterfinals at US Open. That's good in the sport. Story at the top of the page. Our healthcare is in crisis, warns Johnson in bid to quell rebellion. All the papers have got the same some variant on this story today as Boris Johnson announces his national insurance rise in breach of his manifesto, which apparently we're told doesn't matter. Elsewhere on the page, Northern Ireland Protocol talks reach stalemate. Now, this is interesting. I just want to do a parallel for you here. So, Northern Ireland talks reach stalemate in The Guardian. How does the Telegraph present that? Well, the Telegraph says, sausage war avoided as UK wins protocol concession. So, if you read The Guardian or you read the Telegraph, you're in completely separate universes on that story, if not most others. So that's an interesting one. Right. The main picture is Jean-Paul Belmondo, who was a face of the French New Wave, has died aged 88. Really a cracking picture of him. And on the right-hand side, a report by Nana Mus Stephenson in Mazar-e Sharif, talking about Afghani people who who are there and trying to find a way to get out of Afghanistan eventually. C122, H122 says, I'm in Northern Ireland and nothing changes. Yeah, I was just in Northern Ireland actually. I was in Portaferry and it was wonderful. Johnson once again pretending to have no idea why the NHS is crumbling when he and his cronies have systematically decimated it for a decade. Exactly. Sausage war. Mark notices 2 men stand face to face, 6 inches apart. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a sausage war. Yeah, I don't want to go too much further with that image. On page 2 of The Guardian, concern as hundreds of migrants resume crossings. All of the papers, whether it be The Guardian, The Times, The Telegraph, Daily Mail, whatever, they all write about immigration as if refugees across the channel as if we have a huge issue, as if we are being swamped with refugees, and it's just not the case. We take many fewer refugees than many countries. We don't actually have an issue. The issue is about dealing with the people traffickers, which would be a better way of doing that. A better way of doing that would be to actually make it easier for people to come here without having to rely on people smugglers. But there you go. Yes, I'm very familiar with the Vivienne Westwood cowboy t-shirt. Hey, SK, how is the Business Factory? Thank you for joining us, even though you are in the Business Factory. I hope it's going okay. On page 3, it's a miracle. Joy in Australia as lost boy age 3 is found after 3 nights in the wild. This boy is autistic and non-verbal, so it's, you know, I'm very glad he's been found safe. On pages 4 and 5, Chancellor agrees to add extra $1 billion to budget increase for NHS and social care in England. Fuck you. On page 7, France mourns Jean-Paul Belmondo, louche face of the French New Wave. Fran Earnsworth, the BBC's director of news, was being floated by Jim Waterson in The Guardian this morning that she was due to quit, and she has quit. On pages 8 and 9, police inquiry urged into CBE for Saudi donor to Charles's charity. The aide will get screwed by this. Charles will get away free, as if he knew nothing about it. Is SK 3 children in an overcoat? Yeah, I'd say so. I could imagine that. One very swarthy child at the top. SK Crusader Business Factory, pretty dull so far. Just hilarious training. You're going to be done by like 4:30 today. Excellent. Chronotherm, listen to the Leftover pod today. Great Britain has promised visas to 500,000 Hong Kong citizens as a flex against China, but only 20,000 Afghans. Yeah, hugely recommend Leftover pod. There's some good episodes of it, including one with me. On page 9, extreme views and conspiracy theories rising among pupils is the claim. Again, Guardian, way more reactionary than people think it is. Idiots think it is. Anglicans in Wales agree same-sex couples can be blessed. Well, bully for them. Woman died after mismatched cage fight, say family. The family of a mixed martial artist who died after a blow to the head in a cage fight have expressed concern that she was mismatched with an opponent bigger and more muscular than her. She is Saida Alitaha, a 26-year-old Loughborough University graduate, collapsed in the bathroom at Central Hall in Southampton on 16th of November 2019 following a knockout in the 3rd round. They claim that her opponent, personal trainer Janie Morgan, 34, was bigger and stronger. SK currently getting paid to watch the stream. Yeah, love to see it. Page 11, more aid goes to fossil fuels than to cutting air pollution. I don't know why we're shocked about that. Yes, there's also a Leftover with Sunan, which is, again, excellent. On page 12, GP staff facing abuse from patients over cancelled blood tests. Shit for them, and who's to blame? Well, the government. Coins. Page 13, whale song. A study into whale song reveals why sudden humpbacks are quicker to change tune. Apparently how populations interact changes how songs are shared in the two hemispheres, and nesting boost for beach birds after electric fences deter off the lead dogs. That's written by Helena Horton, who used to be at the Telegraph but now is at the Guardian. Do you see how transfers work in the British media? You could be pumping out right-wing bullshit for the Telegraph and then shift the next day to be pumping out centrist bullshit for the Guardian. Friday's fuckface, small-time MMA events are dangerous as fuck from what I've seen. Yeah, I would say so. It feels a little bit like amateur boxing events and stuff. On page 14, Taliban claim Panjshir last Afghan resistance redoubt now under their control. The resistance was really a bit of a Western concoction anyway. An activist commissioner, the Afghan Independent Human Rights Commission has made a big plea for help for disabled Afghans. World leaders must act to protect disabled Afghans who are in immediate danger under Taliban rule. A prominent blind human rights activist is urged after being evacuated to the UK. Can't see that happening, to be honest. Friday's fuck fight went to a small MMA event in Blackpool, and every fight lasted about 30 seconds before someone was knocked out. Yeah, that's not great, is it? Hey, Red Tick Seed, how you doing? John Crace in the sketch writes, Afghans are just more collateral in the long queue of people the PM will break promises to. Yeah, it's just a fact, that, isn't it? On page 19, extraterrestrial flu. Viruses may be crucial to life on other worlds. COVID pandemic has already turned life, as you know, upside down. Our leading scientists have warned that viruses may not only be found on Earth, but might occur should life exist elsewhere in the universe. I mean, that seems logical to me. Mark Anosis says small-time MMA fights generally more dangerous than illegal bare-knuckle boxing in a field. Yeah, I'd agree with that. 21, page 21. UK vaccine advisors acted like medical regulators. The UK's vaccine advisory group behaved like a medical regulator in rejecting calls for all children aged 12 to 15 to be offered COVID jabs, despite that not being its role, claims Professor Neil Ferguson. Muppet creator Jim Henson's going to get a plaque, which is a nice and good news story. Polly Toynbee writes that the Tories are in revolt with this social care plan. No wonder. Spectacle of Conservatives and frothing fury is a stirring one. Ministers brief freely. Jacob Rees-Mogg's head is high above the parapet, while every WhatsApp group, groupuscule, what a terrible word, of Tory MPs rampages against raising national insurance. Yeah, they'll still fucking vote for it, though. Fuck off, Polly. Richard Wynne-Jones says, Drakeford is a success, so why do Labour chiefs ignore him? Well, I mean, because Keir Starmer doesn't actually want to win anywhere. Charlotte Summers writes, boosters for the vaccinated won't help us. She's a lecturer in intensive care medicine. Essentially, they're saying it's a bit too late. Think about it, the UK doesn't give a fuck about its own disabled citizens. Disabled refugees are quadruply screwed. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, in the long read, last year, 3 cryptocurrency enthusiasts brought a cruise ship. They named it the Satoshi and dreamed of starting a floating libertarian utopia. Spoiler, it didn't work out. I know, yeah, well, there is that. On the front page, front cover of the G2, Angela Bassett, on how Angela Bassett became a Hollywood superstar. A quote from her: the plan was just to go to LA for 6 months, see how it goes. It went pretty well, I guess. Zoe Williams writes, the celebrity washing wars have come to her bathroom. I'm afraid we're going to have to find out what that means. Okay, so apparently, Ashton Kutcher washes his armpits and crotch daily and nothing else ever.
This is old school. This was on Twitter a month ago.
And Dwayne Johnson, I shower 3 times a day. Right, yeah, this seems old shit, isn't it? Like,
really old shit.
Who gives a fuck, man? Also, it's like these people who don't wash their legs. What the fuck is that about? There's an article called How to Build a Better Child. Want to stop your kids growing up to be terrible people? Melinda Wenner Moyer did, so she wrote a book about it. I was surprised a lot of kids who bully don't understand what they're doing is hurtful. I fucking hate child behavioural experts like that. Angela Bassett says, I gotta find a new queen to play. From royalty to assassins, Angela Bassett's played them all. She's a fucking great actress. There's a How We Made It column on Week by Skunk Anansi. And the TV, Stuart Jeffrey says Fever Pitch, The Rise of the Premier League is a 3-star TV show. Oh, talking about the libertarian cruise ship, one potential customer was worried by the limited facilities. No kitchen of my own, tiny bathrooms, tiny everything. So what they did is they took a P&O ship that had been called the Pacific Dawn and turned it into the MS Satoshi. I'm surprised they didn't all end up with Legionnaire's disease. The Ashton Kutcher, Dwayne The Rock Johnson dialectic. Yeah, Mark Kenosis there. SK the Crusader, Libertarian Utopia has an awful lot of unattended kids. Yeah, Red Tixie. The more stories I hear about celebs not washing, the more I think it's an op to get us to used to having less water. Do you know what? That's not a bad shout. Mark Kenosis says the Skunk and Nancy piece is really good. To be fair, yeah, I haven't read it. I like. That's a great song. Tiny Everything, perhaps child size, says XMNN420. Not for me to say, and yet, yeah, probably. Kin92 says, in fairness, the don't wash your legs thing just comes from never having been taught and assuming till it's pointed out. Plenty of people are idiots as teenagers and then just assume everything carries on until someone has a conversation with them in their 20s. Yeah, true. I guess. I mean, yeah, fair dues. I don't know why it wouldn't occur to you. Right, anyway. In the obituaries, of course, Jean-Paul Belmondo, thank you very much. Jean-Paul Belmondo gets an obit, and the quote, the pull-out quote is, hell, everybody knows that an ugly guy with a good line gets the good chicks. Right. Elsewhere, Pat Hume, wife of John Hume, admired for her strength during his quest for peace in Northern Ireland. So we can't frame it about her own, personal qualities. It just has to be about her husband who passed away some years ago. Anyway, she's a teacher. She was born 22nd of February 1938, and she died on the 2nd of September. No, not tea, Diet Coke. Woo!
Too hot for tea.
Mm-hmm.
Too hot for tea.
Yeah, although we'll get into that discourse about how it cools you down. And biscuits. Right, moving on. By good line, does he mean cocaine? Well, I mean, I could say he does because he's dead, so I can't libel him, but I think not. Wiley has been charged with assault and burglary, according to Scotland Yard. Wiley, real name Richard Kiley Cowie Jr., is alleged to have broken into the home of his friend Ali Jacko, a former kickboxer, in East London on 28th of August. Cowie, 42, has been called the godfather of grime, will appear at Thames Magistrate Court on 13th of September. He's charged with assault by beating and burglary of a dwelling with intent to cause damage. He got an OBE in 2018 for his services to music, credited being one of the leading forces behind grime. Put out a load of amazing tunes, but of course spent a good amount of time saying mad anti-Semitic shit last year. So there you go. In the world news, thousands gather for pro-Bolsonaro rallies as critics fear for democracy. Belarus opposition leader who spurred uprising is sentenced to 11 years, surrenders. And a horrifying story coming out of Florida, 4 dead, killed by a former US Marine, among them a baby, which is just horrendous. Big follows. Thank you, SK, for banning big follows. Good luck in your meeting, SK. Thank you for tuning in from the work factory. No, from what it seems, Wiley is not a well guy. Peace out. Australia, Ibiza Gate trial condemned by rights organisations. The excessive criminal prosecution of a security consultant whose Ibiza Gate video brought down Austria's government, will defer whistleblowers and risks infringing on fundamental press and information freedoms, rights groups have said. 15 Austrian and international organisations said in an open letter today that the trial of Julian Hessenthaler, due to open tomorrow, was based on partially constructed accusations used to discredit and apprehend him. It's quite a complicated story worth looking into. Chinese crackdown forces international companies to reassess Hong Kong future. An Italian chef has built a version of the Shire from J.R.R. Tolkien's fictional Middle-earth realm. Here he is dressed as a hobbit. Books and films were no longer enough for me to satisfy my passion for fantasy, he says. A hat bearing DNA of Napoleon has gone on sale before show. A hat with DNA evidence proving it belonged to Napoleon Bonaparte has gone on sale at the auction house Bonhams in Hong Kong. Described by Bonhams as the first hat to bear the Emperor's DNA, it's being previewed in Hong Kong before it moves to Paris and then London, where it'll be auctioned. Hat, one of the bicorns often seen in depictions of Napoleon on the battlefield, was bought by its present owner, a small German auction house that did not know at the time that it had belonged to the Emperor. The buyer became intrigued when he realised the hat had inscriptions and other characteristics suggesting it could have belonged to Napoleon. It was then tested. 5 hairs were discovered when the contents of the hat were examined very closely, and 2 of those hairs were then followed up, and they carried the marker of Napoleon. Great name for a sharp book. Sharp and the marker of Napoleon. Chronotherm says the chef should have tried role play rather than attempting to build his own Middle Earth. Right, moving on. The FCA has issued a warning over the crypto assets pushed by celebrities. I mean, if you're that dim to go for those things. Ryanair fails to agree a price with Boeing for 737 MAX jet order. In the sport, from Osaka to Biles, young female stars are dehumanized by ceaseless judgment, writes Jonathan Liu. He's correct. Paris 2024 set to take opening ceremonies to the streets. Not the band, but the actual location. The Games organisations plan to just transform cities into a big Olympic and Paralympic park. So that's kind of cool. Clone Napoleon, amazing. Books and films were no longer enough to satisfy my passion for fantasy is also what many serial killers say, says Mark Canosis. Yeah, fair dues. Alexander Arnold is not the answer to England's midfield limitations, claims Jacob Steinberg. Southgate's experiment was worth a try against Andorra, but proved the fullback's creative skills do not transfer. On the back page, crash course. Root tells England to be inspired by Bomber's brutal brilliance, and Spurs did not give their permission for World Cup trip, is the claim about the Argentina players. And Emma Raducanu delivers another brilliant display to seal place in US Open quarter-finals. That is The Guardian. There's an animal story, clone Napoleon thing, I guess. Maybe a -10. Give your scores for that. I'm going to do the roll call in a second. Then I'm going to attempt to do a speed run through the Telegraph, which is always hilarious because it's impossible to manage while stood up. So, yeah. Right, let me... Chronotherm can't wait for the Paris Olympics celebration to involve bulldozing several banniers. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of inevitable, isn't it? Right, so, hello, welcome. I should have done that already, really, but welcome to the show. I'm the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. Also, there's a Discord, and I'll share that in a bit. In the chat today, we did have SK the Crusader in the mod squad. He has had to return to doing work. Imagine that. And in the chat, also 2020 Academy Impossible. Apparently her. Big Old Boy. Billy Wilder. C122, H122. Farage's Fuck Face. Good to see you. GABC. Hosso 030. 0312, Judge Judy Slayer, Julie Prunes, Kin92, Chronotherm, Mark Canosis, Red Tick Seed, Salinka Meyer, Snur, Stream Elements, which is a bot, don't know why I read that one out, The Neon Lady, and XMNN420. Thank you all for joining me here. Let's see if I can do the Telegraph in 2 minutes. This is going to go awfully, and I hope you all find it deeply hilarious as I attempt to run through this terrible paper. So, yeah, here we go. We're going to do 2 minutes, which would be a new PB, but I think it's basically impossible. Starting now, 2 minutes. There we go. Oh, right, and I have... Oh, actually, hang on. Not starting now. Let me put the paper into the box before I do that. I mean, I'm just setting myself up for failure by not doing that. There we go. Judge Judy Slayer is a great name. Fair play to that. Right, speed round, here we go. 2 minutes, starting now. Right, front page of the Daily Telegraph. Top of the shop is Judith Woods saying, Dear Prime Minister, whatever happened to Mother Knows Best? She has no awareness of Gillett competency and is basically an idiot. Otherwise, Hugh Fernie Witten School, what's gone wrong at River Cottage? What's gone right? Celia Walden, Piers Morgan's wife and columnist in her own right, says, time will tell if teens should have Botox. No, teens should just not have Botox. Julian Clary, it's good to be outside your comfort zone, stating the bleeding obvious. And Suzanne Moore says, what will Hilary Mantel achieve by moving to Ireland? Well, she won't be in Britain anymore. The Daily elsewhere, Tories condemn tax rise sham, of course, the same story with their spin on it. We've talked about the sausage war story. Elsewhere on the page, 300 Afghanistan interpreters left behind in Afghanistan, England overwhelmed, and lack of coughing is music to ears at the prompt. Inside, a review of the new Just a Minute with Sue Perkins gives it 5 stars. Virtual chocks away as RAF training jet is phased out. Labour floundering on social care funding. Yeah, they don't have anything to say. They're floundering on everything. On page 7, executive sacked after £60,000 expenses claim. BMW have got a new ugly car. Designer dogs suffer more ear infections. That's because they're overbred. There's no such thing as a designer dog. It's bullshit. Curtains in lessons give the lie to militant equality pledge in Afghanistan, basically separating men and women. I mean, are we surprised that the Taliban are doing that? Socialist mayor of Paris throws hat in ring to take on Macron. Right, whatever. Northern Ireland will be Biden's next foreign policy disaster, says Ruth Dudley Edwards, who is a real scenery chewer. Sherelle Jacobs, the scariest woman in British papers, says Boris's obsession with being popular could cost him the next election. We can only hope. I bet it doesn't, though. There is an alternative to tax-funded care, writes Peter Lilly. You can fuck off. Ian Dale, never should Parliament sit via Zoom again. Ian Dale, old man assaulter Ian Dale. Whatever happened to Mother Knows Best is Judith Woods with a whole page not understanding the Gillett competency. Okay, didn't manage that in 2 minutes, but nearly done. Let's see if we can do it in like 2 minutes 30. What's going on with River Cottage gets a whole page. Celia Walden says the Botox ban is too late for the Insta generation. There's a half a page about how the uber rich are holidaying on creepy yachts, as usual. I know the true power of egg freezing for women, says Dr. Jill Lockwood. I want to try something dangerous, says Julian Clary, fill in your own answers there. Of course, they've got John Paul Belmondo in the obits, and Donald Zeck, Fleet Street showbiz correspondent during Hollywood's golden age, who became friends with the biggest stars of the 1950s and 60s, has died. He was very old. And bring back the 90s when football was fun, says Anita Singh. That is the Telegraph. Can we go back to Northern Ireland a bit? Love to know how Biden will be outmaneuvered by Raab. Yeah, okay, hang on. She says, the ignorance and arrogance shown by President Biden in his mishandling of the Afghan withdrawal are evident once again in his approach to Ireland. It's alarming when a lawyer is careful with his language as David Trimble, who put his life, his party and his career on line to secure the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, sends an open letter bluntly speaking of the Biden administration's role in contributing to the damage being caused to the agreement through your support for the Northern Ireland Protocol. She writes that Sinn Féin wants to destroy Northern Ireland. Well, no, it wants a united Ireland, I think, you know. She says, Biden's utterly superficial take on Ireland, green good, orange bad, and not a clue about the history and politics of Northern Ireland, other than Brits had made the Catholic Irish people the most oppressed people ever. I mean, you're always going to get, like, hardcore unionist chat from Ruth Dudley Edwards, so there you go. Anyway, that's the Daily Telegraph. For me, it's a minus 69, the classic. Red 16, I want to try something dangerous, jumps off cliff. A big old boy, the other alternative tax-funded care is to just die. There are many options. Friday's fuckface, lol. UK journalist so mad Biden didn't continue the forever war. Yeah. C-122, H-122, all mega yacht owners are sex offenders. Prove me wrong. No. I you know, Biden's take on Northern Ireland is his best take, says the Neon Lady. Right, so now we're going to move on to the Times. Inevitably crash our way through to the Times. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. To the Times. All right. Here we go. Many of these stories are going to be familiar to you because the papers are all kind of running the same lines today. Top, in the promotion box at the top, we've got fertility on ice as Sophia, or Sophia, as I discovered it's pronounced when she was featured on the radio the other day. Sophia Money Coots, real name, real freelancer who's in everything and related to quite a lot of other famous journalists. Anyway, that's her on fertility treatment and freezing of eggs. You do read that?
Did I read what?
The fertility treatment bit in the Times too.
I skim read the bit where Janice Turner said that women should be horrible.
Okay. Yeah, and there's some Janice Turner in there, so whatever. And on the right-hand side, Teen Queen Raducanu in the last 8 at US Open. Story at the top of the page, old normal, rush hour returns as Britain goes back to work, pretty much forced back to work in the offices. Also, I hate this framing, back to work. People have been at work, key workers have been working, retail workers have been working, people have been those people who've been at home have been working. In the Daily Mail, you'll find Richard Littlejohn talking about people having been paid to stay at home eating hobnobs. This Richard Littlejohn, the man who spends most of his time at at a villa in Florida. Anyway, elsewhere on the page, stop more migrants or pay the price, France warned. So it's Priti Patel who offered to bribe the French, now threatening to take the bribe away. Markinosis says that Sophia Moneycoots' drum and bass DJ name is So Fire Moneycoots. I like it. And the story on the right-hand side, Johnson Hale's biggest care shake-up in the generations. C122, H122 says, I'm working tomorrow for very little money. I'm working today for very little money. Welcome to the show. But yes, Sophia mad at her parents didn't call her something like Tiffin or chloroform. Tiffin Moneycoats. Right, moving in to the inside of the paper. On page 3, Chess Mania lures millions of players to get on board. There's a picture of The Rock and Arnold Schwarzenegger playing chess. Is it? No, hang on. Mike Tyson and... I just saw the arm and thought it was The Rock, but no, it's not. It's Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson and Arnold Schwarzenegger playing chess. Fried Spec Face has got a job interview on Tuesday just because they want me to go back in the office in current job. Okay, well, good luck for that one. Australian duck is the first to talk. Basically, there's a duck that has managed to mimic its owner shouting, you bloody fool. I mean, I feel like there's a sitcom in that. So Fire Kreutzfeldt, J. Jacob. Okay. On page 5, Bezos funds the quest for eternal life. Absolutely. This is like Peter Thiel investing in a company that takes young blood from young people and injects it into old people. Jeff Bezos heard that and thought, that's something I can get into. This project, the Altos Labs, is exploring gene reprogramming. It's being set up by Yuri Milner, the Russian internet entrepreneur, who plans to open labs in California, Britain, and Japan. Yeah, not at all creepy. Not at all creepy. Yeah, I love the duck. The duck is good. HMRC has done a deal over the film tax scheme, which saves a lot of famous people from having to pay a lot more money. Izzy the Raven with the Asbo is excellent. Fringe parties will prosper if we break tax pledge, warns Haig. No, they won't. Quentin Letts is awful. I think we know that. Tony Blair says he fears terrorists may be plotting biological war. How about he sticks it in a dossier and then takes that dossier and rams it right up his arse? Right, moving on. Busiest day on the tube for 18 months. Well, that's not going to come back and bite us in the arse, is it? Boost your body image with blue sky thinking. There's apparently a study illustrates the power of looking at pictures of blue skies can make us feel better about ourselves. Fucking hell. Shut the fuck up, Tonti, says Lincolnmeyer. Kinu92 says, my job isn't one that can be done remotely, but within this week we've had someone have a positive test come back while she was out on delivery. Shit British rules now, I still have to work until results if you're double jab, no symptoms. But management told her to finish round and come back in to be assessed, check. She was allowed off sick. What do I think of Quentin Letts? I am not a fan. On page 17, woman who wanted to leave work at 5 p.m. wins £185,000 payout. Now, once again, it is the Times doing that thing that we've talked about many times on this stream, which is where it completely misreports a tribunal by just focusing on one aspect of it and making that sound like it was the big issue. It was not that she wanted to. It was not simply that she wanted to leave at 5, but that her employer refused reasonable, flexible working arrangements, which ended up being constructive dismissal. She wanted to leave at 5 rather than 6 to work flexibly in order to pick up her child, and that wasn't allowed, and it put her at a disadvantage compared to other employees at that company. It also came out, although her employer denied this, that at a party prior to her going off on maternity leave, he had said, and I quote, "For fuck's sake, why is she pregnant when we're doing so well? I was warned about employing a married woman of her age." So, it's discrimination. And this shit about, oh, she wanted to leave at 5 and got £185,000 for that, it's horseshit. That's not the point of it. But, of course, the Times loves to do this stuff to wind up its increasingly gammony readership. On page 19, a horrifying story about an RAF instructor who died when his parachute failed when her parachute failed at 12,000 feet. The female RAF parachute instructor fell to her death during military adventure training after a canopy failed to open. It's horrendous. A doctor is facing jail for perverting the course of justice by lying to police in an attempt to sabotage his flatmate's relationships, which is horrendous. Submarine drama is not watertight, say veterans. God, fucking hate this shit. Guess what? A drama set on a submarine is not completely accurate because it's TV drama. It's not a documentary. Yeah, it's absolutely comedic level of discrimination, so blatant. Hotel housekeeper worked 7 days a week for £1.41 an hour. Hotel boss required a 69-year-old housekeeper to work 60 hours a week on an hourly wage of £1.41 while forcing her to sleep on a cellar chair. That's wage slavery. An employment tribunal has awarded Julie Miles £55,000 in compensation for exploitation by her employer, who had banned her from taking holiday. Miles cleaned and cooked for Gary Hesp, who owned and managed a Great Western hotel franchise near Abergavenny. The tribunal was told that she was paid as little as £84.92 a week after deductions for accommodation, sleeping in a chair in a basement laundry room. Miles was vulnerable and had nowhere else to live. Why is this man in jail? No. The tribunal in Cardiff was also told that Hesp, 67, who was married, sexually harassed Miles by sliding his arm around her waist on 3 occasions. The hearing was told that Miles began working at the £70 a night hotel owned by Hesp and his wife Lorraine. 2014, every day she was required to strip and make beds, wash, dry and iron bed linen, and clean rooms and lavatories in the hotel. The hearing was told that Hesp knew that Miles had financial difficulties and exploited her. Hesp had a full-time job as a bathroom salesman in Devon and Cornwall and used her to keep the hotel running in his absence. Miles worked on average 60 hours a week and was paid between £84 and £99. Tribunal was told she was paid below the national minimum wage throughout her 3 years and 5 months at the hotel. In 2016 to 2017, the minimum wage was £7.20 an hour, and the tribunal calculated that Miles's hourly wage was £1.41. Her pay was so low because Hesp deducted £80 a week for accommodation, but for more than a year she was given only a chair in a cellar. When she started at the hotel, she slept in a mixed dormitory, but that was let out. Laura Jane Howden Evans, an employment judge, described the relationship as one of master and servant. I mean, I think servant is very kind on what he was doing to her. She said it was only by complying with every instruction, completing work quickly, turning her hand to whatever was necessary to get the rooms ready, and by being at Mr. Hesp's beck and call around the clock, that Mr. Hesp was able to keep the hotel ticking over whilst working full-time. We found Mr. Hesp exploited Mrs. Miles' circumstances. Hesp was also found to have sexually harassed Miles. Why is there not a criminal case against this guy? Why is this guy not in prison? On page 21, new rules delayed paramedics at terror attacks. The only paramedic to reach the scene of the Manchester Arena bombing in the first 40 minutes after the attack would not have been allowed to attend under new rules. The inquiry into the attack at the Ariana Grande concert was told that paramedics are unlikely to be at a scene of a terrorist attack for at least half an hour as a result of rules that require detailed risk assessments to be made first. I think this is probably more complicated than is being let on here. Moving on, in the comments section, William Hague says, PM risk being defined by a broken promise. He absolutely will not be defined by this because papers like The Times, The Telegraph, The Sun, The Daily Mail will wade in behind the Tories as soon as the next election is called. I hate this shit. The pretense that anything he does now is going to stop them from still saying, well, you best vote Tory. Slinkmeyer is correct. Why is that guy not facing criminal sanction? Because the criminal justice system only cares about criminalising poor people, not rich people. Giles Corran remains in the Times without having apologised or even acknowledged the fact that he laughed at the death of our friend Dawn Foster. Fuck Giles Corran. We're not going to cover what he said in his column, other than to say that there is an interesting part where he has been required at his insurer's behest to install CCTV at his house. I wonder if that has anything to do with the message that appeared on his front wall. Hugo Rifkin says that Hilary Mantel is in a muddle about Britain. The Wolf Hall author's shame about her nation. It's proof that as a country we've forgotten how to talk ourselves up. I think we should talk ourselves up a little less, frankly. Right, in the birthdays, Chrissy Hind is 70. Eleanor Baker, the road and track cyclist, Olympic gold medalist, is 27. Corbyn Bernsen, the actor from LA Law, is 67. Alex Burkhardt, the Conservative MP for Brentwood and Ongar, Parliamentary Private Secretary to Boris Johnson is 43. Professor Sir David Cannadine, the historian and editor of the Oxford Dictionary of National Biography, is 71. Gerald Corbett, the chairman of Segro Property Investment and Development Company and Marlborough Cricket Club until 2017, is 70. Jennifer Egan, the novelist, is 59. Gloria Gaynor, the singer, is 78. Angela Giorgio, the soprano, is 56. Peter Gill, the playwright and stage director, the associate director of the Royal National Theatre until 1997, is 82. Toby Jones, the actor, is 55. Julie Kavanagh, the actress and voice of Marge Simpson on The Simpsons since 1989, is 71. Commodore Inga Kennedy, the head of the Royal Naval Medical Service until 2021, is 59. Douglas Lamont, the chief executive of Innocent Drinks, which is part of the Coca-Cola Company, is 48. Chief Rabbi Ephraim Mervis, the chief rabbi of the United Hebrew Congregations of the Commonwealth, is 65. Peggy Noonan, the journalist and a former speechwriter for Ronald Reagan, is 71. Lord Robert Reed of Alamur, the president of the Supreme Court, is 65. Sonny Rollins, the jazz saxophonist, is 91. Happy birthday to him. Alok Sharma, Conservative MP for Reading West, Minister for the COP26 Climate Change Conference, Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy Secretary until January 2021, is 54. Jean-Yves Thibodeau, the pianist, is 60. Professor Peter Vaughan, at QPM, the Lord Lieutenant of Mid Glamorgan, Chief Constable of South Wales Police until 2017, is 59. Diane Warren, the songwriter, is 65. Evan Rachel Wood, the actress, is 34. And Chris Wright, the co-founder and chairman of the Chrysalis Group, is 77. Fries Fuckface says CCTV cameras are just going to show Corin getting into his car whilst drunk. Kin United 2, Giles Corin remains in dire need of a redacted. Inquest has been horrible, clearly trying to pin it on the paramedics, agreed, to distract from security service fuck-up. The whole thing has been heavily about distracting from the security services fuck-ups. In the world news, Hugh Tomlinson and others report Taliban claim total victory with fall of rebel province. Ashel Fef in Israel says jihadists dug their way out of jail with a rusty spoon. I would simply argue if prisoners can dig their way out of your jail with a rusty spoon, you probably weren't running a prison to start with. On page 31, women competing in an ancient rowing race in Venice dating back to the 13th century have declared victory for equality after awarded the same prize money as men for the first time. Good. On the front page of the Times too, as we mentioned, women and the new egg freezing law. So Fire Money Coots and Janice Turner, please no. In the business news, regulator seeks more powers to curb crypto. You'd be lucky if you manage that. Soy sauce. Last summer, the governor of South Dakota wondered what to do. So Kristi Noem, a rising star in the Republican Party, knew that Trump wanted to have his face carved on Mount Rushmore. She was not able to make that happen. So she gave him a bronze sculpture showing what it would look like if Trump was added to Mount Rushmore. Oh yes, and even mocked up some planes celebrating over it. Right, just get to... I'm appreciating the condiment hydration bit. Thank you, Sloan Demaya. I'm trying to keep that up. On page 49, Jean-Paul Belmondo gets his obituary. Otto Saraiva de Carvalho, the charismatic army officer who led a revolution in Portugal but was thwarted in his dream of becoming the country's Fidel Castro, has died. He was 84. His downfall, according to the Times, was that he believed too strongly in his cult of personality. And the last obituary today from the Times, Sheila Bromberg, consummate harpist who unexpectedly found herself becoming a member of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I just love the idea. I wish he'd done it. I wish Trump had got his face on Mount Rushmore. Like the last day of his presidency, a big curtain had dropped, and there it was, and it was just like, yeah, there you go. That was all I did it for. Gordon Elliott, the Irish jump trainer who is set to regain his licence on Thursday after a 6-month ban, has vowed to prove he's not a monster as he seeks to rebuild his career. You remember that there was outrage, classic tabloid word, on social media in February when he was pictured sitting astride a dead horse. The image had been taken in 2019 after Morgan, who Elliott trained, had collapsed on his gallops. The incident drew criticism from around the world, and some of Elliott's highest profile horses were taken on by other trainers. He lost his licence just before the Cheltenham Festival. Yeah, well... Sligamai, I can never get over how shit Mount Rushmore looks like from a distance. Mark Kenosis, in my opinion, they should carve Trump into Mount Rushmore, then dynamite the whole thing. Sligamai, and then there's a massive pile of rubble under it because they never bothered to clean it up. C122, H122, outrage should be banned. Change all the heads to Trump. Yeah, that word outrage is sort of meaningless, isn't it? This is an insane and really sad story. A former France footballer has died 39 years after falling into a coma during an error in routine surgery. Jean-Pierre Adams, a defender who won 22 caps between 1972 and 1976, died yesterday, aged 73. In 1982, he was admitted to hospital for knee surgery. The operation went wrong because the anaesthetist was looking after 8 patients. There was an error. The footballer suffered bronchospasm, which starved his brain of oxygen. He slipped into a coma, and he just stayed in a coma for 39 years. Able to feel sensations, smell things, hear things, be surprised by the dog's bark, but unable to do anything else. Just insane. Mark Kenosis' suggestions for who to put on Mount Rushmore: Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, Jared from Subway, and then Jared from Subway again. The ultimate in curse. Oh, thank you for the tip, Anonymous. That's very nice of you. Really appreciate that. Henry Winter writes, Wenger's plan puts young stars at risk. If Arsene Wenger has his way, 18-year-olds such as Jude Bellingham of England and Pedri of Spain could conceivably each play in 7 World Cups during their careers. Wenger's plan for a biennial World Cup needs resisting because players need a proper break in alternate summers, and because most important sporting competition on the planet, the World Cup, must not be devalued by overexposure. Every 2 years for a World Cup would be too much, I think. Stuart Fraser writes, Relentless Raducanu shows champion class. And on the back page, Root, we blew big chance. Captain Bermode's side's failings as England must win 5th test to salvage series against India. Right, give me your scores list. I mean, there were some animal stories in there, so I guess it's a minus 69 at 67 for me. The double, nearly negative nice. Right, and finally, Mount Nonce. Surely that's on Crown Land somewhere. We can only assume, can't we? Oh, annoyingly, I didn't change the episode number up on the top of the screen here. That's annoying. Let me change that mid-show. And as if by magic, it's turned to episode 6. Right. Finally, we come to the Daily Mail, our last paper of the day. Always the last, for it is guaranteed to be the most cursed. Red Tickseed gives the Times a double negative nice. Slinkermeyer agrees, as does C122, H122. Professionalism, that's me. It's all professional all the time. Right, top of the shop, here we go. Daily Mail. Lonely truth behind the TV dating obsession. Yet another cynical show begins. The Daily Mail is a cynical show itself. Any time a show like this is on, the Daily Mail in print will clutch its petticoats about it, while the Daily Mail online, the Mail Online, which acts as its own sort of independent running sewer, will obsess over pictures of people in bikinis at an incredible rate. So, the cynicism serves the Daily Mail. Right. Elsewhere on that front page, £5 a week to fix care crisis. This, for me, feels like the Daily Mail weighing in support of Boris Johnson. There's a tax rise for typical worker to pay for social care. Now, don't let overwhelmed NHS swallow it up. But, of course, they've already said that it's initially going to go into the NHS. And it is a regressive tax, but of course the Sun would support it, because the Sun is all about its readers keeping hold of their property assets and passing them on to their children, even if those children are themselves in the 60s. Daily Mail had a countdown for Charlotte Church's 16th birthday. It did not. It was the Daily Star that did that. On page 3, amazing. After agony at SW19, British teen storms into last 8 in New York. That's Emma Raducanu. Also on that page, London to Edinburgh on the £15 Express. It's often cheaper to hop on a Ryanair or EasyJet flight to Spain than catch a train to Scotland. Now there is just a ticket for passengers looking for a bargain break. From next month, a budget rail service called Luma. How shit must those trains be compared to the ones that we already have? My hair is really annoying. It's the heat. It's making it all curly. Anyway, yeah, there'll be no first class, no buffet. Passengers could order food and drink via a smartphone app to be delivered to their seats. That seems fine. Or wait for the additional traditional onboard trolleys to rattle past. That sounds fine. What trains have buffets now? I haven't been on a train with a buffet in years. Anyway. It sounds good, but I bet there's barely any tickets at that price. On pages 4 and 5, £80,000 cap on what you'll pay. Homes they would have kept under the scheme. Widow who lost her family haven. And for sale, mum's pride and joy. Countdown wasn't any paper. It was a website. Star published a pic of her age 15 talking about her tits. Big girl now. Something. The Star... both of our memories of that Star article are slightly... Anyway, you can find it online. There's pictures of it everywhere. On page 7, £180,000 payout for estate agent barred from leaving at 5 p.m. to pick up daughter. Another twisted view on that by the Mail, similar to what the Telegraph did. They, of course, cover the Napoleon hat, and their headline for the duck that swears is dirty duck that mimics its keeper's foul, F-O-W-L, language. Yeah, West Coast Pendolinos do have those little snack shop booths. Yeah, but it's not a buffet, is it? It's not a buffet. On pages 8 and 9, 1,000 migrants in one day. This is false. This was an estimate put out by the Home Office, which is being reported as if it was true. And even if it had been 1,000 migrants, we don't... refugees, whatever word you want to sling around here... we take very few refugees into the UK, so fuck off. The duck is good. We love the duck. On page 11, quadruplets has gone to school. Identical brothers Roman, Austin, and Arlo, and their sister Rhea were born at 29 weeks, 11 weeks premature in 2017. They're now starting school, which is sweet. Coming soon, a meat-free McDonald's burger called the McPlant. Give it a go. Women with university degrees are increasingly more likely to have a first child before they get married, according to a study. Yeah? And? Fries Fuck Face, Dirty Duck, he loves to say fuck, could be a Viz comic. I'd be into that. Pages 12 and 13. Charles claims he knew nothing about the donations. Well, that's a surprise, isn't it? On page 15, Cheryl Tweedy has talked about her grief over her crazy, quirky, soft-hearted friend, Sarah Harding, who of course passed away this week. Tests are hampering our recovery, say the airlines. Yeah, okay. On page 17, which burger is real big cheese? After 20 years, Wendy's is back in Britain, and now the high street choice is wider than ever. So anyway, they go out and they test various burgers. The Whopper gets 2 out of 5. The Big Mac gets... What's the score for the Big Mac? 1 out of 5. Fools. Five Guys gets 4 out of 5. Wendy's gets 4 out of 5. Gourmet Burger Kitchen gets 5 out of 5. Gourmet Burger Kitchen is overrated for the price. It's $12.95 the Gourmet Burger Kitchen burger versus a $6.95 from Five Guys for the hamburger. But why would you not get the cheeseburger? This is ridiculous. Honest Burger gets a 5 out of 5, and the Byron Burger gets 3 out of 5. Absolutely amateur hour if you're rating Gourmet Burger Kitchen at a 5 out of 5. Richard Littlejohn writes, back to work, back to school, back to work, back to the future. No longer will people be paid to sit at home eating hobnobs. This is Richard Littlejohn, who's been paid to sit on his arse and talk shit for decades. Fuck off. On pages 22 and 23, there's a story about Afghan refugees playing cricket with the team's local a team from the local Baptist church. Nice story, I guess. Think about it. The tests kind of are. Apparently, we're the only European country requiring multiple private PCR tests for fully vaccinated people, as opposed to if tests, NHS tests. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, like, this is just screwed up. Anyway, yeah. Five Guys rules, but it's so expensive. Yeah, but Gourmet Burger Kitchen is twice the price of Five Guys. Five Guys is £7 for a burger, which is a lot, admittedly, right? But Gourmet Burger Kitchen is £12. So anyway, there's a new... right, where was the disgusting bit in this about the dating shows, Devs? There was a bit in here which was really bad. Was it in First Dates?
It was in first dates, yeah.
Alright, so they've got this thing of reviewing different different dating shows, because there's a new one coming out which is called Ready to Mingle. Apparently it was on last night. Lateral flow test, yeah. Five Guys is good, yeah. Anyway, so this is what they write about first dates, right? They say, this fixes up those hoping to find love for a date at a restaurant. The old, unattractive, and disabled are involved too. Creating the kind of life-affirming romance that those who've been defeated by Tinder crave. Jesus. Imagine the mindset to write that. Neon Lady, you're correct. Gourmet Burger Kitchen is the bougie Five Guys. If you were given the choice of Five Guys or Gourmet Burger Kitchen, you pick Gourmet Burger Kitchen, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. And also, look, they rate to compare Five Guys to a Big Mac, right? They're not operating in the same territory, right? Big Mac's half the price for a full meal. Fuck that column. Yeah, fuck that feature. Fuck that column. In fact, I need to take a picture of that because I want to particularly mention that in tomorrow's newsletter. Boom. On page 27, that story about a Mary and Joseph from a nativity play who've now got married 30 years later gets reprinted here. It was in all the tabloids yesterday, now gobbled up by the Mail. On 29, celebs in the dock over cryptocurrency ads. No. Today's extract from Miriam Margolis's memoir. I was so out of control, I made the Queen snap, be quiet. In the final madcap part of her showbiz memoir, she makes a very candid confession. She talks about starring as a skinny sex goddess in an advert for Mannequin cigars, and about posing up a ladder for a philandering artist. So there you go. Right, on this day, September the 7th, 2021, from Daily Mail Archive, in 1939, 70 people a day are losing their gas masks in London, and hardly any go to the lost property offices to claim them. See to it that your name and address are written clearly and indelibly on the case. September the 7th, 1979, women could soon be bearing other women's children, Britain's test tube baby pioneer said. There's no reason why a woman should not have an egg fertilised by her husband, then implanted in another woman's womb. Happy birthday to Julie Kavanaugh, who's 71, does a lot of voices on The Simpsons, and to Diane Warren, the songwriter, who is 65. She penned If I Could Turn Back Time for Cher, Aerosmith's I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, and Toni Braxton's Unbreak My Heart. Also born on this day in 1887, died 1964, Dame Edith Sitwell, the eccentric poet. And Sir John Paul Getty Jr., born 1932, died 2003. Son of the oil tycoon John Paul Getty was one of the most generous philanthropists in the UK history, giving away well over 100 million. Getty, who became a British citizen in 1997, donated to the Special Forces National Gallery, Conservative Party, and families of striking miners. What a confused set. He also enjoyed collecting rare books, paying Oriel College, Oxford, £3.5 million for the first folio of Shakespeare's plays. In September 7th, 1940, the London Blitz began as the Luftwaffe launched heavy bombing raids, and in 2020, EastEnders returned to BBC One after almost 3 months on off air because of the pandemic. Quote of the day comes from Marlene Dietrich, who said, "Sex in America an obsession, in other parts of the world a fact." Joke of the day: how do you ask a dinosaur round for a bite to eat? T-Rex. Have a good meeting, Slinker. Neon Lady, Getty was trying to buy a title. Bingo. Page 35, kickboxer who fought in... okay, here's how the Daily Mail frames this woman who died as a result of fighting in an MMA fight. We don't just get, oh, maybe her opponent was too strong or whatever. No, we get kickboxer who fought in a hijab, killed by a much bigger opponent. See the Daily Mail's angle there. Right, moving on. They've got remedies for snuffy noses, various puzzles. Parents are sure that CBD transformed their children's health, so why won't the NHS prescribe it? Or why won't... I don't know. THC, actually. Right. Trying to sell you various things. Pick of the day is A House Through Time, 9 p.m, BBC Two. David Olusoga is back with a new series of fascinating social history in which he sets out to tell the story of a single house, exploring the secret lives of its residents. TV reviews, Fever Pitch gets 4 stars. That's the documentary, gets 4 stars from Christopher Stevens. Silent Witness, also 4 stars. In the cartoons today, Garfield is just lying around. In Chloe and Co., Chloe and her boyfriend are in the bath chatting. And Fred Bassett is disappointed that his dinner has been cut down. Poor Fred. Right, here's today's poems. Absolutely horrendous. Emoji Wars. How to express in every way the beauty of a summer's day in an emoji can't be done, and definitely not in one. These new upstarts of hieroglyphs are only jingles, only riffs, compared to centuries of words free flying like a flock of birds. A useful thing, an instant pic of smiley face or feeling sick. But where's the nuance? Where's finesse? The truth is we can only guess. And there it is. The lines are drawn. What does it mean? I feel a prawn. I've lost in this new fingered tongue. This new fingered tongue. What does that even mean? For I am old and you are young. And so it's war, I'd like to say. I'll live tonight to fight another day. But time is short and thoughts run deep. So I'll emoji. Bleep, bleep, bleep. I'll Ruth Twyman Locker of the Isle of Wight. Stop. And the limerick today. Wherever we walk, we meet oodles of crossbreeds related to poodles, like cocky young cockapoos and cuddly cavapoos and overindulged labradoodles. That is not a limerick. Right, and then the last one, nursery rhyme for our time. Little Jack Horner sat in his corner. He couldn't box for nuts. When the box came along and told he was wrong, he was afraid of a few bruises and cuts. Now get in the ring, dance and sting like a butterfly and a bee. Then a few years' time, you'll be fine as round your neck a gold medal we'll see.
Jesus Christ, that's terrible.
The scansion, my gold. Replace all writing with emojis so this poem can't be made again. Yeah. Right, time for the straight to the point letters. Tony Hounsell says, it's a pity some footballers are not as keen to take the jab as taking the knee. Shut up. Frank Gunn says, when money is being given away, Rishi Sunak gets the praise. But when taxes are going to be raised, Boris Johnson gets the criticism. I tell you what, I hate them both all the time. Ian Fuller says, the police don't bother to investigate burglaries, so why are they going to waste time on dog thieves? John Burgess says, foster parents Pauline and Roger Fitter should get honours for looking after more than 600 children over 56 years. Pete Williams says, was the submarine in the BBC drama Vigil designed by the same people who built the Doctor Who TARDIS? Peter Nesbitt says, to avoid fat shaming, doctors should say to obese patients, you're not tall enough for your weight. Glenn Marriott says, I figured out a way to see my GP in person. I've joined the local golf club. Name Supplied says, diagnosed with sudden deafness, my first audiology appointment will be by phone. Despite me telling the consultant I can't hear it when it rings. And finally, MK6 says, is Trump Biden this time? Is Trump Biden this time for the next election? See what I did there? Yeah, plagiaries from Barrington Levy. Yeah. Today's recipe is pineapple chicken and veg wraps. They look disgusting, and person in the room has written simply no above it. Whoever wrote that letter about being tall for your weight needs to redacted in a fire. Yeah. They're trying to sell you scooters, ugly t-shirts, ugly trousers. And in the sport, England blow it again. Roots men throw away another test and gift India a glorious chance to win series. And Wonder Woman, amazing Emma, storms into last 8. That is the Daily Mail. A quadruple negative nice from me. More than that, a sextuple negative nice because of the disgusting dating show feature. Thank you for joining me today for episode 6 of season 5 of The Paper Thing. I've been your host, the Broken Bottle Boy. If you like this show, you can always send me a tip. Thank you to Anonymous, who tipped $27.67. One way of doing that, not through Twitch, that gets to me more directly and helps fund the purchasing of the papers, and also pays for magazines for the magazine specials, is by chucking some coins into the paper fund. PayPal.me/Conquest of the Useless. You can also support this show by being a subscriber to the newsletter. Subscribe for free. Subscribe for free to start with, brokenbottleboy.substack.com. But if you enjoy it, why not upgrade to a paid subscription? You get some extra stuff. Mark Anosis is going to miss tomorrow's show because he's going to the zoo. Mark, we need to have good details on what animals you saw and hilarious things they did when you return. But yeah, that's cool. What zoo are you going to? And also, one last link for you, if you are not yet a member of the Discord, where people share terrible articles they've seen and other stuff, just go to Discord. There's the link. Join it, and there are many other people who watch this show and get the newsletter who are part of it. Anyway, thank you again. I will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and all that stuff. It does help. And I'll see you tomorrow. Capybaras. I love capybaras. All right. See you tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. You know where to find me.